What up, y'all?
Warframe.
The Gunslinger.
This is your Division 2 podcast. Warframe came up before any other topic, and the fastest it's ever come up. Fastest ever come up.
All right. Now that you're done with your Warframe references, and the Press the Pints podcast, I'm Gobi. With me tonight is obviously DrNiggle, Dollar Sauce, OmegaConstruct, Eliteness, Trelephant, and Zero Burn. I know we seem like we got a full house, but a couple of these guys are just here for the intro. They're going to drop out, and then later we'll be back when we talk about the Division 2. So how y'all doing tonight?
Good.
We're live.
Life is going.
What's up, Trelephant? Trelephant's got a cool name.
I like it. It's
Simple but effective.
like elephant.
Not
I
saying
like
like
the
that.
it.
tryhards.
Dollar Sauce is pretty wicked too.
Here's my
Appreciate it.
question.
Came
Why
out.
was I relegated to the end of the list again?
Because
Alphabetical
the name
order.
starts with Z.
Yeah. Your name has a Z in it.
I read from top to the bottom with the obsession of DrNiggle because somebody had to speak out of turn. Warframe.
That's how you do it. Squeaky wheel gets the chicken. I don't know how that expression goes.
Grease.
Yeah.
Squeaky wheel gets grease.
Speaking of,
I don't care for John Travolta.
wasn't there yet? I'm not even gonna try with that. Nope. So RimWorld got an update that you guys are excited about. What's that all about?
I put that on the list and because Omega brought it up earlier today, and I know that we have some GSers that play RimWorld. So yeah, Omega, you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, it's kind of insane. I've been following RimWorld for years now. I first got on board with this game back when it was in Alpha 4, and I mean, the game was barely even a fraction of what it is today, and I've been following it for years. I've got like 700 some odd hours on my Steam library, but probably closer to 3,000 when you add the pre-Steam alphas on there. And this new update is just a huge addition and departure from what RimWorld players have come to know and love about the game. And it was totally unexpected. There was absolutely no warning that this was coming. About within the last week or so, they updated to version 1.1, which is the first major update since the full release. And then they dropped this huge DLC on us, and it's pretty crazy. It adds whole new elements of gameplay. It's called the Royalty Update. So now there's this new faction that is like this intergalactic royalty that you can gain favor with, and they give you tasks and quests, and they bequeath titles upon your pawns, and it looks absolutely insane. It adds crazy new weaponry and gear and items and psionic powers, and it's adding in all these elements of like everything from Dune to Warhammer 40K vibes, and it's super cool, super exciting. And RimWorld is, I mean, like I said, I've been following this forever when it was literally one guy making this game on his own. And when it first started, it was literally using visual assets stolen from Prison Architect. And to see it have come this far, it's now like, I think the 4th highest rated game on Steam. It has such a huge dedicated community, and I'm thrilled for the opportunity to throw another $20 at this developer, because like this is one of those stories that we as gamers love to see, of this independent developer coming up with an amazing idea, growing it with nothing but his own hard work from the ground up, and not screwing the player base, not trying to milk them for money. This is the first time he's asked for money since players bought the game. It's incredible. I'm super excited for it. And anybody who doesn't play RimWorld, if you're into colony managers, sims, war crime simulators, you like the idea of being able to feed your genetically engineered colonists the remains of their enemies, and the levels of absurdity that this game can allow you to do are just delightful. I encourage everybody to try it.
As Omega brought up Warhammer 40k, this is absolutely a Warhammer 40k update. It's not specifically labeled as such, but the royalty aspect, a lot of the game mechanic elements that they've added in are from Warhammer. You have Psychers. God damn, mic cutting out. You have Psychers. You have Imperial Knights. You have the really like high up. I forget what not the Astartes. Yeah, not the Astartes. Something else like that. But it really is. You have advanced feudal knights that have crazy weaponry, and some have psychic abilities. And you're in service to the all-powerful. I forget what they call it. It's basically the Emperor of Man, and you're in service to this dude, and it looks pretty cool because there are new demands put on you. So you have your colonists, and as they slowly work their way up, they get higher and higher titles, they start demanding nicer and nicer stuff. Bigger rooms, throne rooms, bedrooms, halls, all the rest of that. It does look like fun, and credit to the mod community. The mod community has been updating to 1.1 all week long. I've probably downloaded about 500 megs of new updates. And RimWorld, and they added a new system too for mod updates. So now you no longer have to update individual mods. You can have one mod that is good across many different versions of the game. So people don't have to re-download their mods, or they don't have to worry about getting mods corrupted or anything like that. So good on tie-in for that as well. And there's a long list of developers that contributed to this as well.
Just to go off the modding point, like one of the biggest selling points for this game, in my opinion, is just how customizable this game is, how moddable this game is. You can turn this game into anything you want it to be. From the base vanilla experience, you could take it in a billion different directions by combining these mods. And like Doc is saying, the modding community is one of the best that I've ever seen for any game ever. And when these new updates come out and mods get broken, the community is so quick to fix them. And if mods are abandoned by people who have stopped playing or developing their mods, people adopt orphaned mods to fix them up and keep them running. It is such a great community of players. There's the official Discord is full of great people. There's just it is such a cool game. And like this is the only time I have ever said this, but like if there was ever a developer I would say deserves our money, it is Tynan and Ludion Studios. Like it's just the greatest game made by great people who truly care and are involved with the community. Fucking awesome. I'm so excited to get deep into this update.
Yeah, and if you do want to really go to town with some of the mods in this game, consider a cannibal society who build their structures out of the bones of their enemies and eat their flesh and wear their skins. And you can have a fighting pit too, little jail area, prison, forced labor, slavery basically. Yeah, you can get into all sorts of dark stuff in RimWorld, which is why I love it. You can basically do anything that you want with mods.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think you guys covered that one.
Yeah, what do you think hell is like?
Hot.
No comment.
Nah, can't be that bad.
Yeah.
Niggle knows
Comment.
he designed it
Comment.
in RimWorld.
So, Zero, did you play Red Dead, or just leading us here? Play Red Dead.
Nah, I'm not a Red Dead fan.
I'm waiting for it to go on sale just because I'm cheap.
It was on sale.
Yeah, it was. I missed it, but I'm waiting for it to go on sale again.
I don't know if it's still on sale or not. I don't think it is.
Apparently, there's a hot coffee mod, and Take-Two doesn't want it. It wants it gone. Like now.
Yeah, if anybody ever played GTA San Andreas, and they installed the hot coffee mod, it's the same thing, but it's for Red Dead too. So yeah,
Okay.
definitely check that out.
What is it?
Hot coffee.
Uh,
It's any scenes that involve or adult behavior. Hot coffee adds in full nudity.
Okay.
Actually, no. The Red Dead version has no nudity in it. It basically just adds
you
a
kidding
mini
me?
game where there's sex, and in Red Dead, the sex is clothed. I was reading the article, and it says the mod doesn't contain any nudity or nude models. It uses only assets that are already in the game. The animations are from a drunk bar mission. Moaning noises are from sounds where the character models make where they get injured, and it's only available in single player. It's not something that fucks with online stuff. It's basically a mod that adds a PG-13 sex scene.
This sucks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well-
and it's getting it. They want it gone because it's sexually orientated, according to their EULA.
Well, like meanwhile, Rockstar's biggest game, GTA, has a fucking strip club with titties in it, and you can go like watch strippers for hours and like
Yeah.
get lap dances and
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
some
don't
old
go
biddies.
pick up hookers and fuck in your car and get
And kill
like
them.
you like fuck hookers, and then after you pay them, rob them to get your money, or kill them and get your money back. Like it's ridiculous that they have a problem with this when
Well, and the game Red Dead is like super fucking violent. I mean, the amount of gore and blood that you see in that anyway.
well, I mean, that's just typical American prudishness. I mean, look at our entertainment scene. Like, I grew up on movies where people get eviscerated and dismembered and blown up and shot and throats
Hostile.
slit and all kinds of horrible shit. But God forbid you show a titty on TV. Like, that's America. Like that's American prudishness at its most ridiculous, and
They're
I don't
just
fucking get
pissed
it.
because they didn't think of themselves. That's it. That's all it
Look,
is.
same argument that I've always had. Hostel comes out and it becomes one of the most popular horror gore movies of all time, and then Centipede comes out. Nobody likes that.
Hostel was like just a straight up gore movie. Like there was no horror to it at all. Like the only
Well.
horror was what the fuck is he doing with that?
Tell that to the guy with his mouth stapled to the asshole in front of him.
Oh, that whole show, like I think the worst of it though was like the train at the end. Like spoiler alerts. Not really, but I'm not gonna go
Yeah,
into detail.
if
That
you
was,
haven't
like,
seen Hostel
probably
by
the most
now,
gruesome.
I didn't even like Hostel, not because it was like too much or too gross. It's just like wasn't a very good movie.
no,
I'll
it wasn't.
agree.
It was there for shock value.
It was
And-
purely shock value. I think there are far better movies that have done gore and like excessive violence that actually built a good movie around it. Far
I mean,
better
they had
than
a decent plot, like or like idea of a plot, I guess you could say. Like the whole story supposedly behind it, they had a decent one of those, and they just fucked it away. It was just horrible.
Yeah, I just I don't know, the gore factor of it wore off pretty quickly, and then it was just like this is a pretty bad movie.
4chan loved it.
Oh, of course they did, because I mean it's right up their alley.
And
Yeah.
it looks like Subnob, fucking A.
Subnautica?
Oh, I want to hear
Below
Gubby pronounce it.
zero.
Subnautica?
Dropping a new update, which is interesting. Dropping a wreckage of a crash shipped into the massive ocean. It's big and rusty, so be careful. Swim inside and explore. Ooh, and aquatic aliens. Yes.
So
Sounds
yes.
like an adventure into one of my exes.
Ohio.
Heyo!
Subnautica was another game that Omega and I played quite a bit, I think.
It is an amazing game. It is a completely immersive, no pun intended, because it is underwater. experience, open world, underwater exploration. Like it really fucking makes you feel like you're alone in an alien world, and it's an amazing game. And I'm super excited for Below Zero, but I will not touch the early access version of it, because with a game like this, I hate the idea of playing the early access limited release version of like, here's this section we've built so far, what do you think? And then like playing the next chunk and the next chunk, because then you're just basically spoiling each chunk of it as it comes out, and you never get that experience of the terror of like experiencing it for the first time. So I'm waiting for the full release, the whole game to be finished, bow on it, ready for ship, and then I'm gonna get it and play it. I hate the idea of being of knowing what's coming in a game like this, because it totally takes away from everything that it is.
So editing note, I need to cut out the part where Omega says I'm waiting for the full release. And Subnautica Below Zero is the successor to Subnautica. Subnautica is now totally out. You can buy that. You can play through the story. And I think what Omega's touching on is, yeah, it's a survival game, survival scavenger, or survival looter. And that's definitely a huge element, a huge part of the game. But the other half of that is the story. It's a great story. Subnautica had a really engaging storyline with a lot of stuff to uncover, a lot of in-game lore if you're interested in that. If not, there's still a great story to be told. And it all sort of dictates what you have to do to escape the planet. Subnautica Below Zero is the same way. It has a very engaging story. I played the beta of it, and it's almost done. If not done, isn't it?
No, it's still in early access. Like this is
okay,
an
still,
update for the early access. So it's not done yet.
So they're still developing the story. But once the story is done, yeah, it's a game that I'm very interested in taking a look at, because the story in the first one was great, and it's what, $30, and I've definitely got my money out of there. $20.
Oh,
goddamn.
the first game. Let me double check that. The beta. So the original Subnautica is 25, and currently the early access Below Zero is 20.
So, yeah,
it was free on Epic.
It's well worth the money.
I've got it for free off of Epic.
Which one, the first game or this game?
The first one.
Yeah,
Sweet.
it was one of the free games a long time ago.
Oh, okay. You can't get it
And
anymore.
if you've got Xbox, if you've got Xbox Game Pass, it's for free on there.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate is the free game on Epic from now until the end of February.
All right, so you got 6 more days for that. Or
Yes, sir.
actually, no, 4. It's not a leap year. Not even 5.
Is there co-op in that game?
I wish.
They're working on it.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's Subnautica?
Yes.
That would
Oh, wow.
I read an article on the first game where they are planning on adding co-op to that.
Well, like the developers are as a mod, because I remember it was talked about a while back, but the developers said basically like part of what makes the game what it is that feeling of being alone, and they didn't want to lose that. And as fun as it would be to play that co-op, I kind of don't disagree entirely. I mean, if they had co-op, I would play it, but part of what makes that game what it is that terrifying sense of like being alone, stranded on this alien planet.
Yeah, sadly.
How have
I
you
think
guys
it's
never
less
played
than-
Ark?
I've been looking
played
at it. I've been looking at it, but not for the reasons of playing it. So yeah, what you said, Subnautica is kind of a horror story. It didn't start that way. The developer didn't come at it and be like, we want this survival with these horror elements. They wanted it to be a sandbox survival. It didn't occur to them until later, when people started beta testing it and saying, holy shit, the ocean is terrifying, look at all this crap, that it was like, oh, there are horror elements in this, apparently. It never occurred to the developers that the ocean is fucking terrifying, and to me, the ocean is fucking terrifying.
Well, but see, that's what I love about the game is that there is no concrete horror elements that they added to it. Like, they didn't make any part of this game to be like, okay, this is where the horror part comes in. No, it's just they made this game and it is in an environment that is terrifying, and it presents the players with this world or this situation that would be terrifying to be in for its own merits without feeling contrived or constructed that way. So, I mean, at its root, it absolutely is a sandbox survival game. It is, here you need to construct things, you need to collect resources, you need to explore to find those resources, you find blueprints to build things, and you follow a loose storyline that, you know, gives you a plot, and eventually the goal is to escape this planet that you've crash landed on. And like, that is the core of the game, is that survival sandbox gameplay loop. I feel like the horror elements are just naturally there, which is, in my opinion, nothing short of brilliant world building. And the horror elements, that's just the icing on the cake.
Also, I believe Omega is correct. There is a Nexus mod available to make Subnautica multiplayer at this time, but it is not official.
Yeah. All right, we might have to start fucking around with that, Doc.
I'm fine with
I'll
that.
play it. I'll play it if you guys do
Look,
it.
here's the thing about it. I mean, yeah, it's Subnautica multiplayer, but I don't think that we're going to be able to stick with each other all the time. So there are going to be times when you're in one direction and I'm in another. So it's still going to be fucking terrifying because the ocean is fucking terrifying.
It is such a bizarre game that it is like, one moment it goes from being the most picturesque, beautiful, immersive environment, and then the next thing you know, you're like terrified for your life and drowning and being hunted by monstrous sea creatures. And
Yeah.
it is incredible.
Have you ever wondered if an octopus could also be a spider? Because there are octopus spiders in Subnautica.
That is a whole fuck lot of nope.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's what I thought
that's
too.
not even getting into the Leviathans or that. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's so many goddamn terrifying things in this game, and it is so well. It is an amazing game. I can't talk well enough about it.
Have you ever wondered?
It's like we're talking about in today's Frosty Pies podcast. We've talked about two of probably my favorite games.
Jeez,
We haven't brought up Space Engineers yet.
Yeah, fuck
Oh.
that game.
No,
Complicated.
So why haven't you played Ark yet, Niggle?
I don't really need a first-person survival game right now. However, Ark does have a lot of encouraging building mechanics for creating buildings, towns, cities, and whatnot. And I've been seriously considering it just as a city builder to do some stuff. I'm not going to talk about that right now. Spoilers.
We should just do Conan instead. Conan the
No,
Barbarian.
I've compared the building system in Conan and Ark. The one in Ark is far superior because of the placement abilities. The one in Conan is better laid out and it's easier to get to all the elements. But Ark lets you do a lot more. It also, in my opinion, looks a lot nicer.
There's dingleberries.
Isn't Ark MMO style like Rust was?
Yes, you basically create your own Rust or your own Ark server, and get your friends in there.
Yeah, I mean, I could maybe stand to doing that, but I hate playing those type of games with other people. I much rather enjoy it being against the environment and surviving the elements and whatnot than surviving a bunch of fucking internet trolls who have nothing better to do than ruin other people's gameplay experiences.
Oh, okay, all right. So you can hop on public servers, just like Space Engineers. You can hop on public servers if you want, or you can host your own server.
Yep.
Yeah. Same with Conan.
Now,
Yeah, same with Conan.
Should be noted if you're listening to this, there's two versions of Ark. There's an Ark on the Windows 10 store, which does not allow the use of mods and is crossplay with the Xbox One version of Ark. And then there's the Steam version of Ark, which allows mods and is
No
not
plebs.
compatible with the other ones.
Yeah, no plebs.
But Conan, you can run around with your ding dong flopping about in the wind.
There are penis mechanics in Conan.
Yes.
Well, Rust had dongs too.
Yeah, but they didn't flop about, so.
They
Yeah, and
flop
you
in the
couldn't,
wind.
you couldn't make them bigger or smaller like you can in Conan.
It's
See,
interesting. It's interesting. That's where
Gobi
went.
knows the dong mechanics.
Gobi likes a big
Actually,
dong.
I played Rust way back in the day. It was one of the
He
first.
loves a big dong.
Y'all love the big dong.
How's the ass play in there?
Ew.
Poor Gobi.
Oh.
That's it. Yeah, Gobi. We're all back. And we're all piling on.
I've missed you fuckers.
Yeah, I bet you have. Ah,
Join this podcast
anyway.
for Division 2, but I want to stay for the dong mechanics.
Thank you.
That's why we're all here.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Alright.
speaking of that,
And after
it's-
this for some dong mechanics. Floppy ding dongs.
Well, we'll leave on that note and go into Division 2 stuff.
No dongs.
All right, bye.
I'll go ahead and just go.
No, see, don't worry, they're not really upset. They're just for the dramatic effect.
So, yeah,
So,
yeah.
Division 2 is getting a little bit of a revamp. Getting a new expansion pack. There's some missions out right now that are leading up to it. It's also $3 on Uplay. Is it $3 on PS4 too?
Yeah, it's on all platforms right now.
Okay, so you can pick it up for $3, which for $3, it's really hard not to get $3 worth of fun out of the game. So obviously you guys are picking up the new expansion pack, or no?
Yeah, I
Oh, yeah.
think that's about $20 right now. And if anybody does pick it up, there's a referral bonus right now. So I would say get with each other on the referral. You get some pretty slick cosmetics, a named weapon, all kinds of good.
Now there is a one catch that he didn't mention. If you do that, you do have to play the first 3 missions together.
Gobi said
So-
doo doo.
I was about to say exactly.
God.
Heyo.
Note in editing. Cut
I
out the
was
part where
gonna try
Gobi
and
says
let that
doo-doo.
one go.
Anyway. Continue.
So
yeah,
I think you have to play the first 3 missions to get to be able to play with somebody, and then you have to play 3 missions with them to get all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh. It's a lot of missions, not really.
Yeah, you actually have to be social and play the co-op version of this game.
So now just a little background, since you guys have never been on these podcasts before. Obviously you guys play a lot of Division 2. Trey, you're one of the leads for one of the clans on PS4, aren't you?
Yeah, for the first one we started up.
For the first one. And then Dolly, you've been around since pretty much day 1 on the Division, haven't you?
Yeah, we both have.
Yeah. So you guys, and you've been playing pretty steady since.
Try
As much
to,
as
yeah.
I've wanted to, I can't put this stupid game down.
Yeah, it's
Got it.
it's got its shining parts to it for sure.
So obviously we're gonna go into depth a little bit about this revamp because it's a pretty big deal. I mean, I watched 4 State of the Games earlier today, and a little bit of the Warlords of New York reveal as well, and pulled a lot of stuff out of it. But I mean, they're pretty much changing a lot of stuff, and I feel like it's all good. But what's kind of something that really jumps out at you guys that you're really looking forward to?
I think anybody that's played the Division 1 kind of knows exactly what's happening, because this is the exact path that Division 1 took, where it started a kind of questionable game, for some reason got really crappy, and then all of a sudden, eons later became the most amazing version of Division ever. And then when Division 2 rolled out, it was great with the story content, and then very quickly people learned that all we're doing is grinding for gear that is subpar. And they tried different ways to fix it, introducing like a new heroic system. They tried modifying AI, tried giving us targeted loot, and really, it didn't really change the aspect of the game, which was your inventory is always full, your stash is always full, and you've always got this crappy gear that you're not sure if you should get rid of because you don't even know what the best stats are. And that's kind of what this change coming up is they wanted to, Ubisoft really wanted to get away from that. Their intent was not to overcomplicate the game for players. They wanted to be really upfront about what the stats were. They wanted you to be able to get rid of gear if you know it's not something that you want to hang on to. And they wanted to simplify the recalibration system, which it's better, much better now, man. When they first introduced it, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I pretty much skipped it. Yeah.
There's a lot of aspects of this game so far that I've mostly just left alone in hopes that they would fix it. And it looks like, based on all the state of the games that I've been watching, they've addressed almost every single one in Title Update 8, including weaponry, gear, content, all kinds of good stuff. Like it's a pretty exciting update, and it looks like for Division 2, it's the same thing that rescued Division 1. And we'll probably see a lot of people come back to Division 2 once that update comes out.
I will say I have seen a couple of people come back that were in the Division clan, and they've come back, so that's kind of good to see. Lately, the last couple of days, I've had to deal with queue issues, which is funny, but shows me that people are definitely coming back to play it, and they definitely got a player base back. Now, whether this update keeps them or not will be a different story. I think it will, though. What about you, Dollar? What's something that jumped out at you in this new update that you're looking forward to?
I really like what they're doing with all the new inventory mod, or not the mods, but the whole inventory system itself. Like Trey was saying, you don't know what you're trying to keep, you don't know what you're trying to get with, what you need. But I heard something that you're gonna get little icons that are gonna tell you, no, this thing's a piece of junk, or hey, this has got something better than what you have stored on your recal bench. So go ahead and keep that, or this thing's just all better all around. Go ahead and use it, because that's like Trey said, grinding this game for hours and hours trying to find better gear, and you just don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah,
they're giving
you're not
that to
even
you
sure what
finally.
the gear.
I guess, well, since you got focused on gear, let's talk about that first. Obviously, right now they use the budgeted system, which, as you can tell, we all know sucks.
I'm
So
glad
God
that's
rolls are
going away.
back. And obviously we all know what God rolls are, but you can God roll, one piece can have every stat God rolled, which is something you can't do right now because of the budgeted system. They are moving talents to only backpack and chest pieces. Talents will not be on any of the other pieces. They made the gear easier to read. Like,
Yes, everything's
know,
more streamlined now.
yeah,
that's-
like you
I'm
look
glad
at it
that's the
and
direction it's going.
yes, they even referenced Diablo 3. DrNiggle sent me a nice DM here in the mod chat. Icons on gear that will tell you if it has better stats and something equipped stored is yet another Diablo 3 mechanic.
Don't
Diablo
fix what's
3,
not broke, man.
Exactly.
I just don't understand. If they're ripping off Diablo 3, why can't they just start that way? Why does it take them 8 patches to get there?
Twice
Good
at that.
question.
Yeah.
They just need the legendary beams on the ground, and then we'll be good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The new bar system though, I really enjoyed the way gear looks now. Not necessarily what they did on the back end, but the UI for the new gear looks nice. It's way more informative. But what they did on the back end is pretty good too. I think that was a good thing. They brought back core attributes and minor attributes. So, I mean, you guys played a lot of Division 1, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't. I played a little bit of it, but it felt more streamlined, felt easier to navigate.
Yeah, and that was something that when I saw the gear, it made me immediately think of a nicer, cleaner Division 1 UI.
Yeah, I saw some of the stuff that they introduced where we're getting these core attributes now that are more like your post level 40 experience is now going to actually mean something, and it's going to go into a very simplified version of permanent attributes. And I could be wrong, but I want to say they said something about that or something else being account wide now,
Yes,
where the
that
game
is
itself is a lot less grindy and a little more rewarding.
Yeah, the shade levels are account wide, so once you hit level 40 with any character, all of those bonuses.
so
Uh,
something again they probably stole from Diablo 3. Um, but I've also seen it in other games too. It basically shade levels are the RPG system. There's different skills. I believe there's 4 different blocks with 4 different skills. And every time you level up, instead of getting a little cache with a bunch of random weapons in it, you get to pick a skill and permanently upgrade it. And it's across all levels, and it also goes with their season content too. Like the XP also applies to the seasons as well, which is something that they're bringing with Warlords in New York, which is probably my least favorite part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not super pumped on the whole season thing. Like that's more, I think, them catering to the microtransaction thing. But I do really like that they're making the experience worth something now, because they had even brought up the whole post 30 caches that you get for leveling were basically pointless. There was nothing in it. So you were leveling to get this box that you were going to open with subpar gear that you were never going to use. And really all people ended up doing was, like what I do is I just end up filling it up with 10 and then I just drop them all over the map because there's no point in opening them all.
Well, we'll have to see what they do. They said something about story-driven content and how it means something, and you're trying to get to a goal. We'll have to see what that actually means to see how well these seasons are going to work out. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. It was my least favorite of everything that's coming out.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there was a lot of quality of life changes that we never got in the Division 1, which I'm really looking forward to in this game. Um, that being able to scale the open world difficulty all the way up to heroic. Which is one of my
That's a nice addition.
and it'll scale from 1 to 4 players. That that includes missions as well. So if you decide you're on your normal world tier 5, whatever, but you want to play this mission in heroic mode and you're solo, it now scales to 1 person. The same with legendary difficulty is back, but that can only be done on the 3 strongholds. And again, that will scale for the number of players. So if you want to do the stuff solo, you can do it solo, which I'm super excited about because sometimes, I'm playing by myself or I just want to run around solo.
Yeah, you don't always have somebody with you.
Right. I mean,
it doesn't help. It doesn't help that you leave people behind. Not speaking from experience or anything.
hey man, keep up.
Somebody's going under the bus.
Hey, it's not my fault if you can't keep up.
Shots
I
fired.
tell you where I'm going, and you're just lollygagging back there checking your gear. Then, oh shit, he's 3 blocks ahead of me.
Yeah, we got those 2 on PlayStation.
And the other big thing, skill power, is being replaced with skill tiers. I think that's gonna help, or you guys run skill builds?
I think what they might be trying to do, and I'm kind of bummed because I'm a skill guy in this game. I was in the first one, I am in the second one, but I think they're trying to eliminate these like epic seeker mine and hive builds that almost everybody's running now, like these behemoth builds. And I do remember them talking about how they were really hoping to create some type of diversity too, to where you can have a dominant build regardless of the skill that you are using. Because right now, if you're not running Seeker Mines, then you're not going up into the 100 to 300 million damage per run.
Yeah, those are stupid numbers. Still trying to get there.
It is kind of silly. And as much as I love it, I remember this happening when the game first came out. There was a Seeker Mine glitch where you could recreate the Seeker Mines over and over again as they were deployed, and it created the same problem. You could empty a whole level by yourself on any difficulty, and kind of got to the "what are we doing" phase.
Yeah. No, Dollar, you touched on it a little bit. With the other major thing I saw them recalling is the recal station, and this is gonna really help free up the inventory. They referred to it as a Pokédex. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about Pokemon, but I'm assuming it's a library of
You can
Pokemon cards.
store things that you take off of gear now is what they're working on.
Yeah.
So that you always have that talent. And you don't have to have, say, like right now I'm looking for something with Berserk on it. I can't find it. But I've had like 15 of them that I ran through my recal bench that I could have pulled off. And I don't know how many of those dang things I found yesterday. But today, working on a build, can't find one to save my life.
Yeah, and now the new recal station, you'll have it right there. And
I'll just have it. Anytime I want to change up my build, and bam, there it'll be. There's too many good things to actually pick one thing that I'm excited.
Yeah, well, and with as much grinding as there is in this game, and for those of us that put way too many hours in a very short amount of time, like you need something to do after that. And part of it is, maybe I just want to run a different build. I've been blowing things up with skills. I want like a in-your-face shotgun build now. Well, I've got so much gear that at some point I just got irritated and started cleaning it out, and now I've got nothing that I need to actually make that build.
right, yeah, that's been a common problem. I mean, I even started up other characters to kind of unload gear onto them, but
I did the same exact thing.
And then now you just have 600 inventory slots of what the hell am I doing?
yeah, it was so convoluted. And them finally giving us a reason to clean up our inventory is great. And the other problem is the RNG on top of RNG with the fucking gear system, and them bringing
Oh, it
back
drives
God
me nuts.
rolls. That's really made me excited. Like, even the new attributes going back to the way it was in the division, like it makes it way easier. They've also tweaked the brand sets, so now they're more focused on like gameplay styles. I think they brought up like the Badger Tough. It's a primarily defensive brand set with a secondary of offensive. So if you get in the shit, you can get out and survive type gear set.
That'll bring some new life to it because I don't think I've ever run a complete gear set.
Well, and from what I understand, one thing that they're finally doing that I've been waiting for is they're trying to make roles a bigger thing in the game now, where it's great that they have these different gear sets for things like healing and things like tanking, but nobody uses them because what you really need is you need a crap ton of firepower, so you can't sacrifice that. And their intent with the new gear system is to create a need for those roles and actually allow people to use them. Like if somebody wants to focus on healing, or somebody wants to focus on like support or skill sets or firepower, something like that. That's what I was looking for. Is I wanted to be able to run a support class, not the same AR build that everybody else is running.
Right. I mean, I do feel like it's going to improve build diversity. Like you're going to see people with a lot of different builds, which is good. I'm sure there's still going to be a meta and all that shit, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
For normal PvE players, it's going to give you so much more builds that are viable. Especially, I do think the new skill system might be an improvement because I didn't really like using the skill stuff, but I liked having decently, like pretty good skills. And I mean, with the new system, I could sacrifice 3 main core attributes to put it onto skills and be on skill tier 3, and that's looked to be a pretty good spot to be for skills. And I still feel like you can be pretty DPS build with some tech background, which is kind of cool because that was kind of one of the builds that I was looking forward to building. So it's looks like it might be a viable option now. Where like right now that build is just not viable because it's none of the things that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, just a little bit of diversity would go a long ways in this game. Because right now, unless you're running one of these meta builds, I mean, all you're doing is dropping your DPS number.
You're trying to catch up, yeah. Trey and I are always running.
Yeah, I think. Well, one of the other things that is coming back are directives. So if you played Underground in Division 1, you know what we're talking about. Halo had skulls. I'm sure Diablo 3 had something of the same sort. Dr. Nagel could probably chime in and tell us exactly what those are called.
Wait, what?
But they're called directives in the Division. What are they called in Diablo 3?
Oh, what, dailies?
No, they're like, skulls. They're like modifiers.
Game modifier.
Like difficulty modifiers that players introduce.
Oh, yeah, probably Griff difficulty or something like that.
Yeah, they didn't really have anything like
Torment
that
levels.
in D3. Like, with Halo, like the skull system, it adds, unique tweaks to the gameplay. In Diablo 3, it's just scaling difficulty.
Yeah, your torment levels.
Okay.
So as much as I hate to bring up Destiny, what it sounds like the Destiny Nightfall system. In D2, when they brought out that you could you could add different modifiers to your Nightfalls,
Yeah,
void,
they're modifiers.
Like
That's exactly what they are.
Void burn, heavy, like only heavy ammo drops, and stuff like that.
So I actually listed them. So the new directives that are coming out, the first one is called Ammo Hoarders. You start with less ammo. You lose the ammo in the mag when you're reloading. So if you leave 10 rounds in the mag when you hit the reload button, that 10 rounds is just gone. It doesn't stay in your ammo pool.
That's going to be horrible.
Enemies don't drop ammo, and no ammo is shown on the mini map. So any of those ammo crates that are randomly around will not show up on your mini map. You'll have to find them the old-fashioned way with your eyes. Cool skills, pretty simple. When one skill is active, the other is put on cooldown. So when you pop your drone, your seeker mines are put on cooldown.
I wonder how they're going to handle that with a hardwired set. If you can get around it with that.
That might be a bug that they'll have to tackle. If they can
Don't
fix
say
it out.
anything yet.
Now this next one, like I feel like I could just put this one on and play the game, and it would be the same as I play the game all the time. It's called Fog of War Revisited. Minimap and direction indicators are removed. I don't play with the HUD. Play with all that stuff turned off anyway. So that one's pretty much what I do anyway. No regen is no armor regen after encounters. It can only be repaired manually. You could see how putting some of these together might turn the thing interesting. And this one
I do know.
back.
Oh, I'll let you.
Oh, and this one kind of comes back from the first division. Special ammo. Enemies will have special ammo types. Ammo is determined by the faction type, which I'm pretty sure most of these are pretty much pullovers from the Division 1 Underground directives. I know that Special Ammo 1 is definitely a throwback to it, at least.
No, like we got to experience a little bit of the HUD being gone during the raid, during dark hours. It actually kills your minimap, and you don't get the luxury of using that during the raid. And when you do that for the first time, you do find out how dependent on all the UI effects you've become. It was culture shock in the beginning.
Yeah,
That could be a fun one though. I think I would enjoy that one.
I have
It's a nice way
literally
to get some extra XP.
actually, if you go back on my YouTube channel, because I play on PC, which this game is Tobii Eye Tracker approved or whatever, which means it works. So I have an eye tracker that tracks my eyes on the screen and stuff. So like I move to cover, like all I have to do is look at it and then hit the button, and it goes where I'm looking. You can aim down the sights wherever you're looking and mark at gaze, stuff like that. But I actually have a video of me using it. It's in the bunker one, the Shade Tech bunker. It's the second to last mission you do when you play the campaign, and the whole thing I do without any HUD. And yeah, that's I actually back when I started playing with no HUD at all. But I did come from Ghost Recon, so it's pretty common there to play without a HUD.
Well, the first division was a lot more, a lot less forgiving than this one. I have been kind of waiting for some opportunities to get it.
Legendary.
Yeah, the Ammo Hoarders one is not one I will probably ever choose to use, because I feel like they don't give you enough ammo as it is. Like I miss the ammo pools of Division 1.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we covered the open world changes going up to, you can change the difficulty up to heroic. Control points in the new version will, once you take them, they're yours. They don't get taken back. Like you can set your global difficulty to heroic and clear out every checkpoint, and it'll reduce the number of roaming AI and stuff, and you can make Washington, D.C. into a more peaceful place. This really reminds me of Far Cry 3 and the Outposts, and going through and taking out the outposts. And whenever you cleared out an outpost, it made the area around the outpost, more peaceful or whatever. It feels like they're doing the same thing with the Division 2. It's not a bad thing. You can reset them. All you have to do is change the difficulty.
Yeah, there's already not a whole lot of people roaming around beforehand anyways till you get close to those, so it'll be interesting to see what more peaceful means.
Yeah, I think it just probably means less enemies, like less random patrols and stuff like that. Like you just basically run around and see the sights.
And I like what's coming up with the New York expansion too, where I don't know what it means yet because I haven't seen much published on it, but they've stated that because Division agents have gone rogue basically and started killing people, that the citizens are a lot less likely to trust the Division agents. And you really only have one ally in New York, and that's going to be the guy that they're bringing over from the first one and his team, which is supposed to be stronger NPCs on your side, but you have fewer of them because so few people want to help the Division at this point.
Yeah, they're called the Peacekeepers, and Paul Rhodes is the one coming from the first division.
Him, yeah.
Which
God, they're bringing back the conspiracy theory guy.
Yeah, which
He's
shocked me.
amazing.
I thought it would have been. I figured Roy would have been the one that comes over, because he was in charge of the JTF.
It's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy where you log in every time when you haven't done one of the DLCs. He's like, "Hey, agent."
When you
Roy?
haven't done Last Stand.
Yeah, that one.
Or not Last Stand. Yeah, it is Last Stand.
It is last
Yeah.
in. Hey, Agent, does this look like a rash to you?
You can apply directives globally as well. So not only can you change the difficulty, but you can add directives globally. We talked about them, but we didn't really mention. All they do is give you more XP when you apply a directive. So you apply one, you get 25%, 250, 375, 400, 125% more XP for having all 5 of them on. One note for the PvP guys and girls out there listening, signature weapons will no longer be in the DZ, from what I understood. No more signature weapon ammo drop. Like, I think they're just taking it out, period, for
Completely.
obvious reasons. And the raid stuff will be reset as well with the release of the content update. Now that sounds like that includes leaderboards, so we might have a new first.
No, they're keeping all of that. All of the
Oh, they are?
legacy people, they said they were going to keep because they were the first. But
And then they're
everything
gonna
else
just
is going to
use new
get
ones?
reset.
Oh well. Can't have it all, I guess.
Suppose
Yeah.
I guess we should touch on Warlords in New York a little bit. I know I have it pre-ordered. I know they're having issues with PS4 pre-orders. Has that been fixed now?
I believe it has. I think Dollar said
far
he
as I
was
know.
able to get it.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it yesterday,
Sweet.
right out of the PlayStation store.
That is good to hear. So obviously we're going to be going back to New York, but not any part we played in the first one. We're going back to Lower Manhattan. It is in the summertime, so all the factions that are returning are the Cleaners, the Rikers, and well, the LMB are back, but not as a faction.
No,
Uh,
they're going to be part of the Black Tusk.
Yeah, which is good and bad. Part of that now, I'm hoping this is global, but they're going to replace the rushers from the Black Tusks with the elite rushers of the LMBs. Those are the
Thank
ones that use the assault
God.
rifle at range and the shotguns up close.
That was my
and they
end.
threw flash.
Is that globally going to be less of those damn drones? They're not getting rid of them completely, but there's going to be less of them.
Yeah, so that's definitely good. Now you do get to see the Cleaners in the episode 3 in the one mission. You do get to see the Cleaners' new look. I have to say I really, really like the Cleaners' new look and the Cleaners AI. In the one mission I played against them, they were much more fun to play against than they were in the first division. I definitely like the look as well that they did with them. It'll be interesting to see their new gear and stuff because they didn't really show off too much in episode 3, which I can't blame them. It was just a teaser.
Right.
It was, but man, there was just enough nostalgia to get you excited about it.
Fuck yeah, there was.
I had a lot of fun with those stupid little missions. I have to admit, I didn't really want them to end, but playing against the factions from the first one was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was. It was like playing the first one but better, and then realizing how much better the first one would have been if you had these mechanics.
Yeah, that first one was so much like Rainbow Six as far as how unforgiving it was. I actually went back to replay it just to kill some time, and I mean, I was getting my ass handed to me right and left. I ended up just leaving that one and coming back to grind more on Division 2.
Yeah, that's what happened here.
And then obviously the Rikers are coming back, but they're different. They're not the same. They're obviously people aren't from Rikers anymore. I mean, they have the OG Rikers, which are now the leader role. But most of the people are just like random citizens that joined in and believe the Rikers mantra. So they're going to be a little more diverse. Sounds like they got some help so they're gonna have some new gear and gadgets as well. I know the throwers are gonna throw a nail bomb, which that's interesting. And it's like a grenade, but
The,
with nail shrapnels.
the heavy has a nail gun and a giant shield. It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting to play again.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
Although there are new weak point mechanics with all the new guys. I guess the Rikers heavy will have a flash box that you can hit and blind everybody behind him. So you can hit that on his shield and then take out all the guys that are behind him that are all blinded and combobulated at the time. Some new fun stuff.
So speaking of factions, we touched on legendary difficulty a little bit earlier, but there's a new twist to legendary difficulty.
The
Um,
best part.
so the Black Tusk are back, but they're not black. They're white. And they have been tweaked and twisted, and basically they're way more lethal and they have way less tells.
Sounds like way more fun.
It
Personally.
does. It really
Yeah,
does.
I'm pretty amped about that change.
It's
As long as they're not bullet sponges. Like, I'm good.
that's not what it sounded like. It
Yeah.
sounded more like
Same health
better
pool and
tactics.
everything. Yeah, they just use
Yeah.
better tactics. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the new Black Tusk. Like, I think they will be a good I think it'll be good.
I'm not sure how I feel about the possibility of a grenade launching warhound, a turret warhound, and a
Look.
sniper warhound all spawning together, because
Fuck that.
that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, those
but
things
it
are
is
already such a
100%
pain.
possible.
That's
But-
like, well, this just became the raid and we're wiping, boys.
Yeah,
They do have new weak points, which makes it nice, but still, when you got one that's popping you out of cover, one that's hitting you when you're right after you stand up, and the other one that's spraying you with bullets when you're trying to get to a new spot, that just,
Yeah.
Yeah, you do certain missions on heroic, and that's already the problem between the drones and the grenade launchers and the stupid elite level dogs running around. It doesn't take much for you to wipe real.
and the war tanks with the flame grenades. Oh goodness, it's gonna make it fun. It's definitely gonna be fun.
Yeah. The good news is, at least with those doggos, they got clear weak points that are, one of them's in the knees. Sounds like they're pretty big, so it's not going to be like super difficult to hit them. I mean, it's going to be difficult, but it's not going to be like an absolute chore.
That's kind of my problem with the current ones, is they've put it on the back of the cannon, and it's so tiny. You can't really see it unless you run right up to it. And the dog turns the turret, so you'll never really get a chance to shoot.
Yeah, I always shoot at the eye, right at the face, and just melt them the hard way. Because it's.
Yeah,
Shoot
that's
at the
what we
leg,
do.
you can disable it. If you bust
Yeah.
the armor off the shoulder, it'll take care of it. But who was it that's the new hover denial turret? I think that was. I think that was the cleaners. They have like a mortar turret that
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
like it'll light cover on fire, but you can
Yeah.
still run past it and not catch
The-
yourself.
the
But if you
goo.
take cover there, you're toast. Yeah,
The
the
napalm
flame
goo.
goo, napalm goo, that's what they called it.
Yeah. And if you hit the weak point on the turret, it basically blows it back on the engineer and anybody behind him. The same type of deal as like the blinding, getting blinded behind. Same thing with the napalm goo. Anybody behind the turret's gonna get covered in it. And yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the Rikers have, because if you noticed, who's it? The Rikers got the blinding, the cleaners got the light. So what does the Black Tusk got in store for us? That those weak points are really going to change.
The LMB, when they got sucked in, they have a
Those
kinda
shotgunners
like
are
a
going to be a
health
pain in the
box.
fucking ass.
the shotgunners aren't going to be fun. But there's new support guys that have almost like the box from Division 1, where they set it down and
Oh,
it's going to start
shit.
healing everyone in that
Yeah.
area. And you can destroy that if you want, which is, good, and it'll get rid of the overhealth that everyone will get. Or
Okay,
kill everyone, and then you can actually go over there and get armor kits. So if you're running on the no
I'm going for
regen,
kill everybody and get armor kits.
that's how you're going to get your armor kits. You need to kill everybody else and leave that little health box there.
I don't care what they say. They better make it the same as the med box from Division 1.
Oh, I miss that med box, man.
Copy and paste it. I don't give a shit. Like, everybody loved the lunchbox, man.
Yep, you set that
Everybody.
thing down and it saves the team every time.
Dude, DrNiggle used to run this stupid fucking reclaimer set, and I'd run a D3. It was stupid. The circle was so huge, and like my shield is basically infinite. You couldn't break it. You could not damage it fast enough to destroy it. And it was bad.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been able to see any of the new skills coming, but or the new exotics. But I was watching a channel from a guy who was able to try and extract some of the skins that have already been loaded into the PC game for the exotics. And from what I remember, there's a new revolver coming, what looks like a double barrel assault rifle, and an LMG for sure. The other one, and what looked like a hyena submachine gun with some duster knuckles on the front. And then for the skills, they're bringing back similar ones from the Division. Like they get the sticky bomb, I know, is making a comeback. It looks like the Hive, kind of a newer version of it. It's not the Hive, it's a totally separate skill, but you throw it and it blows up into a big area shock effect that'll shock a big group of guys. And I can't remember what the third one was, but the fourth one they haven't released yet. And you have to get these new skills by eliminating the lieutenants, the division lieutenants that are on the rogue side.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I have a feeling by us playing Warlords of New York, we're gonna get an idea of what they're gonna do with it for seasons. For story content, I have a feeling it's gonna be a lot like what it is to kill one of these lieutenants. And for those of you guys that played Wildlands, Ghost Recon Wildlands, it kind of almost makes me wonder if they're not going to go to that type of mission setup where you go get intel and then you go do a couple of missions and that unlocks, like the lieutenant to the lieutenant, and you kill that guy, and then you actually take down the lieutenant. So you get like 4 missions per lieutenant. That's kind of what it looks like, the same scheme that they used in Wildlands. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how packed the story is or how lean it is.
That wouldn't be bad. It would be a nice way to make memes.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Wildlands, but I mean, I could see how it could be downside too. But
I like that it seems like they're giving us just a lot more to do, because that was my problem with the Division 2 when it first was released, is once you got through the game, there wasn't really anything to do after that. And I mean, gear was super complicated. The story missions were over.
This is not Anthem, all right?
Yeah.
Sorry. I couldn't help myself.
The problem with us, with our group on the PlayStation, I mean, we had probably 40 to 60 people, and we all blew through it in a matter of days to weeks, and ran out of everything to do. And you just saw our numbers drop from 40 to 60 to 4, and that was it.
Yeah. Now you're a skills guy, so I'm sure you paid attention to, obviously there's going to be 6 skill tiers. So, but after the 6 skill tiers, you can hit what they call overcharged. and it massively changes your skills. Like for a short period of time, it jacks them sky high. It makes a flame turret this insane arc. It's crazy. So it'd be interesting to see what the other skills do. And one of the talents that they're putting on gear uh, gives you the overcharge, and there's a talent on an exotic weapon that gives overcharge to skills for everybody in the group. So even if you're a DPS player, you can still get your skills to be super powerful for a short period of time if somebody procs that talent. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the direction they're going with skills, because right now, with skills the way they are, you're just a one-man army. There's not even a need to have anybody else.
Right.
And I think what they're starting to do is they want skills to be complementary, not primary, which is cool. I love the skills, and I'll still use them like they're going out of style. But I think they should be a little more complementary, like they were in the first one, and a little less standout. Like, I honestly don't use my guns very often. The only reason I have them is because they have skill-based talents on them, and that's why I hold them. But I think they introduced this a little bit too with some of the gear sets when they introduced Tip of the Spear, Aces and Eights, and Negotiator's Dilemma, where these were gear sets solely based on they benefit you, but they more benefit the rest of your team. And like I just recently put together a Negotiator's Dilemma one that gives everybody else oodles of explosive damage, and it just gives me more armor. So I'm running around sucking up all these bullets, boosting my armor, meanwhile everybody else is getting all these explosive bonuses. And to me, it sounded kind of like that's the direction they're going with some of the with a lot of the armor sets they're coming out with, is they want them to be mutually beneficial, not just like a one-man army scenario, like kind of like what Hardwire is.
Dude, I still have not gotten one piece of hardwire, so I can't build it.
I grinded that out as soon as I found out that was the skill-based gear set. That was the first thing I went after, is I needed to find that gear.
Like I said, I'm a little bit of an oddball. I like my weapons damage. I like my crit hit chance. I like my crit hit damage. But I also really like skill power too. I love having the striker drone, and just, I mean, sometimes I even forget I have it. But you know, a lot of times I just like having that. Like, it really helps out in a firefight. Does a lot. The regen one is nice, but I'd rather have a second gun in the air.
You know, I was in that camp doing 2 million damage with an assault rifle, but I couldn't keep up with Trey's damage numbers with Seeker Mine. 98 million skill damage.
And that's on a slow day. If we run heroics, I can pull 300 million pretty easily in a mission, depending on how long.
It's crazy. Unfortunately, we gotta kind of wrap this up. So, is there anything you guys want to throw in there that we didn't cover?
No, I think we covered most of it.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say is, for anybody who's right now grinding out, trying to get all these exotics and stuff, put that on hold real fast, because the one thing they did say that pissed a lot of people off is that you're not going to be able to upgrade your exotics. You have to basically just leave them behind.
Nope. You gotta grind out new ones, including the Eagle Bearer.
Yeah.
I haven't done the raid yet. So
what you're saying is they took a note from Bungie and are making anything prior to completely useless.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah. Except the nice thing with the exotics is if they're still using the same upgrade system where you need the exotic components to upgrade your exotics, you will now, depending on how many exotics you have, like I'm going to have 20 some odd exotic components to play with finally.
Yep, I don't even have any of those.
So that's my only recommendation. It's the only thing I'm doing right now, is trying to grind out exotics. But I mean, if you got other things to do in the game, leave those exotics alone. They're not going to help you out much.
Right.
Save your frustration. I just got my pair of BTS.
All right, guys. Well, I wanna thank you guys for jumping in and joining me for the Division 2 stuff, and joining out in the podcast.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me.
Time.
Yeah,
I want to
thanks.
thank the rest of you guys for coming out too, and thank you all for listening.
Catch you guys later.
See ya.
Peace.
Penis.
Bye.
Penis.
Penis.